we are all here with a purpose, and that purpose is to make a difference to ourselves in our spiritual growth and to the world around us. And as you're transforming yourself, you will be impacting the world around you. It's your family, your community, and perhaps ultimately the world. And it's possible you don't know what that difference is going to look like, but you will, if you listen within yourself and you follow the breadcrumbs, you'll be led through what exactly the way it's going to be, the how you're going to make the difference in the world. I did not know that at 15. I had to go through a whole journey, and I knew it when I was like literally 15 years later. So it took me a journey of 15 years to really understand what I was here for. And but once you know it, your heart will open up and you will follow your passion and connect every day with your passion. Like, make that be your morning prayer, like in the morning, like, this is my passion, I focus on that, and at the end of the day, look back literally to what have you done, what impact have you made, and share the gratitude towards God, the universe, towards yourself. And then you will have again the new energy to follow that passion.
Welcome my guest, Marie Diamond. She is one of the world's top transformational leaders, speakers, best-selling authors, and renowned voice of the law of attraction and Feng Shui. She is a world-renowned Feng Shui and energy master and has been featured in the global phenomenon The Secret as the only European master. She is recognized around the world as a business and spiritual mentor to celebrities, CEOs, and top entrepreneurs worldwide. More than 1 million people have studied online and in person with Marie Diamond. Also, Marie has been knighted for her humanitarian service and is officially a dame. All right. Welcome to another episode on Passion, Love, Pursuit podcast. I have the honor on bringing on one incredible guest, Marie Diamond. Welcome to the show.
It's so amazing to be here. Thank you so much, Erica, and so happy to be with everybody of you.
Yes, it is such an honor. And I was so fortunate to be able to meet you in person. And instantaneously, I felt your energy in the room. You are such a light. And to bring on an expert like yourself on this subject, we're going to go deep into. I've never talked about this subject on my podcast. So I'm really excited that you are the one to be bringing knowledge behind Feng Shui and energetics. And for people that don't know you, I just want to know, let's just start off in asking what brought you into being a master of Feng Shui, energetics, and law of attraction? What brought you into this space?
Well, yes, I would say I never imagined, it was definitely not a dream that came true to make that happen from my childhood. Like, hey, I'm going to be a feng shui master or a master teacher in law of attraction. I had no idea, of course. Um, but it actually shifted for me when I was 15 years old. And when I was 15, I was run over by a truck and I had a near death experience. And the near death experience was really very profound for me because I went to the other side. I went to the side of light, and there were beings of light there. And one of them told me very clearly that I had to go back and that I was here to enlighten more than 500 million people. That was the message that was given to me. So when I woke up out of coma a few days later, that's exactly what still resonated in my head. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. Like, I just want to situate myself. At the time, I was 15, living in Belgium in a beautiful town called Bruges. Um, I was in a Catholic background. I was studying Latin and mathematics. I was very analytical focused. And suddenly I get this message. So I had no idea what that meant. Um, the only thing I got out of it is that I was here to make a difference to many people. That is kind of what I got out of it. I didn't focus on the number so much. But every day I would start asking that question. Like I would wake up in the morning, like, I am here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Show me how. That was like, God, the universe, show me how. That was like my request, my prayer every morning. And I had already a spiritual mentor at that time. And after a few months, really struggling with my health after that accident, and I actually asked that person, like, why is it that this happened to me? Because I was already very much a very spiritual child, meditating, praying. Um, I was already making like a vision wall. So I was really focused on manifesting things. But like, why did all this like almost got lost? I mean, I could have been killed. And he
Mhm.
just said, "You have bad feng shui, Marie." And for me, it was like, what does that mean, bad feng shui, right? So I started researching feng shui. Of course, in a Catholic library in school, there was nothing to be found on feng shui, right? So um, I asked a few things I could do, and so he gave me some tips. He what I could do in my home, and the first thing was like I was aware that my bedroom was definitely not good feng shui, because I had a lot of nightmares there. I hated
Mm.
sleeping there. The outcome of my life, I was a very good student, but I was bullied like crazy. Um, and I had no friends. So I decided to sleep in another bedroom. That was like my first take on it. Let's change environment. Yeah. And when I did that, it's like suddenly the bullies stopped bullying me. I started having friends, my first boyfriend, and life like started being like more easy, more effortless for me. Yeah. So, and I started, painting images around me that kind of reflected what I wanted in my life, and it really shifted a lot in my daily life. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to practice this. Yeah. So at the beginning, I thought, like, well, if I really want to study something to reach millions of people, perhaps I need to focus on diplomacy, on working in politics. So in my country, to go that directions, you need to become a lawyer. So I became actually an international lawyer because I thought that's like my, way of affecting the world. And
Uh-huh.
that's exactly what I did. And I started working for the Belgian government, later for the European government. Meanwhile, studying all the information I started gathering about meditation and feng shui. And it's only when I was like 31, I started a consulting company, coaching people, speaking about topics like this. And I was like, at the time, the youngest of my country to speak on such a topics. I mean, that was like the older people would perhaps talk about this. And I started studying very intensely in the East, then about feng shui. And that's how I got into it. I mean, it's never been my purpose to become who I am, like literally as a teacher or as an author. Or for me, my whole focus was I am here to enlighten more than 500 million people. So I focus on the impact
Mm.
and the number of the impact that I had. And I was like, what, however that was going to be, was fine by me. Yeah. I never
Yeah.
really came up with titles or positioning in my career or how I was going to do that. Being could have been a singer, but I doubt because I don't have a singing voice. But I didn't care so much about the how. I focused on the vision, and
Mm.
that's I think how I got into it.
That's such a powerful story in itself, but I think the message really from that is to follow the breadcrumbs. Like sometimes we don't know what our purpose is going to be. It's going to reveal itself to us, but we need to at least be conscious and aware of the little breadcrumbs in life. And it's like you were following these little nudges you were getting. So that's so beautiful. And I think as we enter into the new year, if somebody is still questioning, like, what is my passion? What's my purpose? What am I meant to do in life? Is I think being more aware and conscious of your surroundings and what is showing up for you and possibly questioning, like, why is this here? What is this here to show me? And so your story is remarkable. And so I know a lot of people have heard of feng shui, but as myself, actually, this is very new, a new avenue for me. So I'm really fascinated to learn more. And I know a lot of people would love to learn more, especially from you. Uh, Probably some people have seen you on The Secret. I know you spoke on there, and you are one of the top transformational speakers in feng shui and energetics and law of attraction. So, coming from you, what is, let's just dumb it down. What is feng shui, anyways?
Yeah. So feng shui means literally wind and water. So if you think about wind and water, it's about flow, flow of water, flow of the wind. It actually is an energy system that exists, or I would say the Chinese became aware of this like 4,000 years ago. And it's like the same time when they became aware there was qi in the body that
Mm,
later on was, you know, came into an energy system that we would call acupuncture. Yeah. And later on, even the movement of the qi by doing exercises like Tai Chi and Qigong. So they were aware of the movement of energy. And so they saw it in the body, saw it around the body, affecting the health. But they were also seeing that in a home, there's also a flow of energy each time the door opens, the way where you're sleeping, where you're living, each time you open a window. Um, they were like aware also the location of the house. If the house, it would be face south or would
mm,
face north, there would be a different energy in the house. So I always say the first feng shui masters were probably shamans that just were native shamans that became aware of their environment and of the movement of energy. And only later on they start putting things into principles, into steps that had to be taken to, first they would check out the results and then they would create the results. Yeah, first they would see like this is the house and this is the result of this house, or
mm,
I would be having the door in the north, what effect is that to the health and the well-being and the relationship and the money, and of that family. And later on they would use all this information and make the results. Yeah.
mm,
And so they would, use that and they put it up into principles and elements. And so I would say the first really studied information about it was about 2,500 years ago, because that's how, when they, we still found texts from that amount of time where they start, writing down, of course, in Chinese language, um, the principles of it. Yeah. And then people in power start using that, the emperor, empress, the court, the top of society was more aware of that. And later on it started trickling down to the rest of society. But till like 1950, I would say that information kept quite focused in the Chinese communities, in both China and around the world. And um, it's only since the 1950s, and especially in the 70s, 80s, that that information started being spread to the West.
mm,
The first book in English around feng shui came out in 1970, and a lot of that information came through Hong Kong, actually, and Chinese families that started, moving away from China into countries like Taiwan and Singapore and Malaysia, um, and also to San Francisco, the West Coast of America. So that information was still kind of kept still to the Chinese communities, I would
mm,
say. But something shifted on that in the 1990s, and I started studying feng shui, literally in the late 80s, but really studying in person with a feng shui grandmaster in the 1990s. And I was
mm,
probably one of the first 100 people that from Western background that studied this. Um, and for me, it was first because I just adored the information. Yeah. And I was very quick with it. I understood it very quickly. And I was actually the first European student of my Chinese grandmaster. So it was
wow.
that new, right? Um, and it made so much sense for me that as I was speaking about meditation, I was speaking about enlightenment, I was, teaching people about law of attraction, start telling them that the environment is really one third of the results of the law of attraction. And that's kind of what I shared in The Secret, of course, without naming Feng Shui, when I talked about the young man that couldn't find love. And I asked him to look around him to the images that were around him and to become aware that whatever is around you is affecting you subconsciously. It affects your mindset, it affects how you feel, it affects how you behave. And I would say most women are aware of that because once in a while they feel not at home, or they feel they
Hmm.
need to change something, and they redecorate, they paint, they turn their furniture around, they start decluttering. Like, I think women are more aware of that, that the environment is really affecting them, but they don't know that there's a system behind
Hmm.
it, like acupuncture is. So instead of acupuncture, we put needles or we put acupressure somewhere, we can actually put specifically based on your birthday, you can put certain images around you that creates like acupressure points in your home
Mm.
and shift the energy around you, or that you can position yourself differently in your place so your brain waves will change, and you open your hearts, your heart and your chakras, and you feel much better. So it's like they're very simple steps, but once you go there, you're like, wow, it's really, I really feel better. I feel like I'm more focused, more getting better results with my law of attraction. So, my grandmaster always said that the mindset is one third of the results of the law of attraction. But in The Secret, we talk about, 23 people speak about that, and I'm the only one speaking about the environment.
Uh,
Um, and so it's how you feel. If you feel joyful and happy, your behavior, right? You definitely have a purpose in life, and using your passion, right? You will create other results, but your environment is, I call it, your three-dimensional vision board, and
mm.
everything that's around you will affect you as a human being.
Absolutely. And so that's so great. So you said there's three components of law of attraction. And I know, I always say like environment is everything. That's really like, because I know when a house is cluttered, I feel chaotic. So my
Yeah,
energy is like off. I'm not operating at my highest self when the
yeah,
environment is bad. And uh so so as far as the law of attraction, there's three components. So there's the mindset, there's the environment,
yeah.
and what would be
So
the third?
yeah, the first part is your spiritual energy. So that is, your soul is born in the vessel that you have, your body, and your soul already comes with the law of attraction, and that is your soul purpose. Yeah, it
Mm,
comes in with some talents and skills that you're not aware of at this moment of birth, but you start becoming aware of as you're growing up. And so that is what we call destiny or your karma. Yeah. And I would say, can you change some of that? Yes. For example, you're born in a certain country and you move to another country, your destiny will slightly change. Yeah. So, it's possible you don't take on your purpose. Yeah. And you're just doing other things. So it will slightly change. Can you, engage it? Yes, you can. The more you follow your purpose and your passion, you
mhm,
engage more your destiny, for sure, right? Then the second part is your human luck. It's your mindset, but also how you feel and the actions you take. Because let's say you have as a skill set, um, an amazing voice, yeah, but that's like part of your talents you grow up with, right?
mhm,
But you don't have the mindset um, to do something with it, and you don't have a positive feeling about your voice, and you don't take action to, for example, study or to do performances. Literally that will affect that you will never do your express your talents. Yeah, you can have passion about it, but you have to take some action. So your
mhm,
human experience in it. And then the last part is the earth luck, what we call the environment, is where you sleep, where you work, where you live is affecting you. And sometimes you see that with people, like they're in a home and they feel like very stuck there financially, relationship wise, and then they move to another place and suddenly like the air clears up, and they find new friends, they find a new partner, and they find a new job, and like finance are easier. Have they changed their mindset? Probably not. Have they changed their destiny? Not. But they have changed their environment. So it's like it's like people say in I would say in economics, they would say location is everything. Like,
Hmm.
let's say you want to start a restaurant, you will put the restaurant in a place where there's a lot of people passing by.
Yep.
You won't set it up in a desert. There's not a
Yep.
lot of people passing by there. So location is everything. But people forget it's not just the location, but how the location looks inside. Yeah,
Hmm.
how it's set up is as important as just finding the location.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about this, I remember when I lived at this home, I lived with two men at the time. And actually, one of them became very chaotic. And also, I think I think he was bipolar, but really like schizophrenic type qualities. And it actually got very severe and chaotic. Police came, like there was a whole mess that
Mm.
happened. And
Yeah.
in my life, I was attracting not the right or kind of toxic relationships. I was in this cycle. And I actually was forced to leave my home and I moved to a friend's house and she lived in a beautiful place in Malibu and I just surrendered to it. I didn't want to leave my home that I was at, but I needed to. So I moved to this new home and I remember calling it my sanctuary. It was beautiful, like the ocean. We had an ocean view, very clean in the house, not chaotic at all. And from there, I started to do the inner work and just my spirit, just my energy was calm. Like I just felt serenity, right? And from there, I attracted the right man into my life, a very loving, caring, you know, balanced man, and just everything kind of flowed from there. And so I remember that experience, that my environment was, I used to call it, I still call it, that's my sanctuary. Like that, where I lived was a sanctuary. And so I completely agree. And I think anybody that's listening could, if you were to reflect on your environment, certain, let's say your office, how do you feel in that office? It really affects your mood. So going into this element of feng shui, how do we start to create the environment that will bring us happiness and success? What would be like the first place to start?
Well, I think you already mentioned it. It's like it's the clutter that if there's a disorganization around you, it actually mirrors back into your mind. Yeah, we have in our mind what they call the mirror effect, and so what we surround ourselves with is what will reflect back in our mind.
Hmm.
So if it's positive people, we'll become more positive, but also a positive environment will create more positivity in our mindset. So by being in a space that you were in where there was a lot of clutter and chaos, you reflect that back, and your emotional vibration and your mental mindset will reflect that. So the first step is always start decluttering. Yeah. And if you have a hard time with it, ask a decluttering buddy, right? So ask a friend, and then you help that friend. Like you start and there's of course there's a lot of information out there about like the Marie Kondo system, like if it brings you joy, you can keep it. I think so much things can give you joy that you don't want to keep, right? So it's all about but being very practical. Like I always say, ask yourself the question, will I use this in the next year? Yeah. And everything I don't use in the next year, I let it go, or I can sell it. I can put it on eBay, or I give it to a friend that could use it, or I give it to Goodwill. So by letting it go, you're creating what we call an energetic void. And when you create a void, the universe wants to fill it, but it wants to always
Mm-hmm.
to fill it with positive energy. Yeah. So it could be new friends, new career, new possibilities, new opportunities that come to you because you create an openness. So I always say let go of at least 10 to 20% of the things that you have around you, especially in your bedroom. Make sure there is no clutter on your nightstand. There's no clutter on the ground so that you like you want romance coming in and people have to kind of walk over your clothes to find your bed. I mean, you want to avoid that, right? On the place where you work, if that's in an office, if that's at home, make sure that everything around you is decluttered, is organized, so that you have to understand we don't only look like this. Our brain looks
Hmm.
like this, like in a this 90 degrees level, like 45 like
Yeah.
this, 45 like this. So we see everything that is there. So if you look at this way, right, you will actually see like, oh, if that's decluttered, your mind will be decluttered, your heart will feel more serenity, and you'll start attracting better people like you experienced. You moved into your sanctuary where everything was clean and organized because this was set up like this, and immediately you attracted a much more peaceful and balanced partner. Yeah. And opportunities start opening up. So that's the first thing. Create a space around you that is decluttered, and your mind and your heart will feel more open and balanced. That's the first step. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was so wonderful you mentioned your own experience in that. And we can see that even in some homes that certain areas of the home are very decluttered and then others are very, chaotic. Where do you think you want to spend the most time?
Of
It
course.
will be always a place that is more in harmony. Yeah. And you will try to avoid a place that is in clutter. And you need that certain moment to tackle it. You have to say, like, you know what, I'm going to work with this. Um, and once first, always things that are visible clutter, and then the things that are invisible clutter. Invisible clutter would be what is, I would say, first, even put it in boxes or put it in your closets or your drawers so you don't see it. And then
Mm.
once that's clear, then tackle every closet, every cabinet, because each time you open it and it's all falling out, that's not a positive energy too. But first, make sure it's gone, it's open. Yeah. And then tackle everything step by step. The second, very important, is what we call the power position. So
Mm.
the power position is comes back to, are you in power of your environment? I always would say, would you be the queen, the king, the president of your space? Yeah.
Mm.
Think about the Oval Chamber, for example. The president of the United States sits on his desk and he can actually see all the doors of the Oval Chamber. Yeah. Well, you can say, but he sits with his back to the window. Yeah, but people don't come through the window. Yeah, they only come through the doors. So always position yourself, especially when you work, in such a position that you can see the people coming in, even
Mhm.
if nobody comes in. Yeah, just imagine you are still coming in. Yeah, if your clients are coming in, they say, well, they come through the television or of a screen of my computer, right? It doesn't matter. You need to see the door. We
Mm.
have done the research, and when you are seeing the door, you literally are getting your vibration into alpha frequency. So your
Wow.
brainwave goes from beta, like chaos is beta. Yeah, it's like you cannot concentrate yourself. If you're with your back to the door, you cannot concentrate yourself because each time the door would open, you would turn around and you don't feel safe. Yeah.
Mm.
So when you go into seeing the door and you have order around you, you automatically go into alpha frequency within 3 seconds. That's how fast it goes. And we have
Wow.
seen that with testing this. And so people feel immediately, what they do is like they go from the reptilian brain, that is to the back of your head, to the frontal cortex. And when you're in the back of your head, your focus is to the back, like when the door is in the back, you're turning around, you're always to the back. You feel like you're not getting respect, you're more in fear, you don't see the solution, you see focus on your problems. If
Mm.
your frontal cortex is open, you can see who's coming in. You literally will see creative solutions. You're like, oh, I could do this. Like your light bulb goes on. You will be more respected. Yeah. For what you do, people will value you more. Yeah. And just this little simple thing. And I just got a DM today from a student in Asia, and he sent me this little message that, oh, I have such a hard time to study. I cannot, I'm sure I will not nail my exams. And I just told him, like, just do the power position. Yeah.
Mm.
Put yourself on the desk facing the door. And so that was the first thing he did. And he just texted me today. I was just so happy. He said, Marie, I have to tell you, I nailed all my exams. I have higher grades than I ever had in my journey
Wow.
as a student. And it's because he can concentrate better. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Yeah. So it's a very simple technique. Yeah. Everybody can do it. Do it
So,
at your
yeah.
desk. Yeah. Just do
No,
it
I
at
was
your
gonna
desk.
say when I learned this from you, when I was listening
Yeah,
to another podcast about the desk. So, my desk right now, as I'm looking at you, I'm facing a window. So, obviously, my back is to the door. And
I
funny
saw that.
enough, this is where my setup is now, just with the space we have. And I notice when I'm usually at my desk in this room, I can't concentrate as well. When I'm doing a podcast interview, I'm fine, but because I guess I'm talking to the person in front of
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
but I generally have to go outside so I could concentrate more. And I think that because it's a free flowing energy, I don't know, but I thrive when I go outside, when I
mhm,
work outside. But I think it is this position that is not serving me. And so, funny enough, we're planning on moving at the top of the year, and I can't wait because I want to learn everything I'm learning from you. I'm like, okay, this whole house is going to be set up appropriately to serve us. I cannot
yeah,
wait because we live in right now, just with everything, it's a little bit smaller for us to really
yeah,
have the the best setup, if you want to say.
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. So it's such a it's such an interesting thing, but I think anybody could take this, like what you're just this tip alone, like the decluttering. Everybody knows of spring cleaning. And what is spring? Spring is newness, to create
Yes.
newness into your life. So when people clean their space, they instantly feel like lighter. I think everybody feels that way. So,
Yeah, correct. And I like what you're saying that you will change that around. And
oh,
so,
yes.
but it's not just when you're on your desk. It's like even when you're podcasts, right? So, but it's like at your dining room table, only when you have meetings outside, like you go to a lobby of a hotel or you have a restaurant, make sure you're always there first and you see the door,
Mm,
to be in that position, because then you're the whole day in that field. Even in your bedroom, when you wake up, you want to see the door, not having the door to the side of you, because then
mm.
you don't know who's coming in. So these are very simple techniques that you can do. And then of course we can go more personal. And so personal is that there is what we call personal feng shui, and based on your birthday and your birth gender, there's a calculation that we have to find out where is your best place for you to attract success and money. And so people can literally download the um, the energy of the they go
Your
to the app
beautiful app.
store, right? Yeah, they go to the
Yep.
app store, the Android store, and they download the app. And so when they are downloading the app, they will be asked to put in their birthday and their gender. It needs to be the birth gender because that's how the calculation is. Yeah. And then you will get an energy number. Like my number is 5. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what your number is, Erica.
Yeah, it's 4. So I
It's
just wanna, be clear. So it's the Marie Diamond app. It's called
yeah.
the Marie Diamond app. That's how to find it?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So it's a Mary Diamond app, the energy number. And so you will then, it's free. You can download it for free. And then you will get your 4 best directions. It will give you 4 directions that are successful. But the first one is success. And second is relationship, your health, and your wisdom. Wisdom is all about education and spiritual growth. And then you will get a compass. Yeah. And it's the diamond compass. And you will see on the compass there are 4 directions that are strong and they have colors. And then there are other directions that are empty.
Mm,
So what you do with the compass, you literally take the compass and you hold it in the center of the room, bedroom, living room, family room, your office, your workspace, so places where you spend 3 to 5 hours a day. Not the
mm,
kitchen, not the bathroom, because you don't spend that much there. Yeah. And so you're holding the app, and then you see where the blue, it says success, is
mhm,
pointed at. So right now in the room, I don't see my success direction because it's behind me, but
mm,
behind me is my success energy. So what do I place there? I place there, you can place there a vision board. You can place there your logo of your companies, important files, important papers. I have there my upcoming books, my awards, um, pictures of, and, or my books if I have the space for it. So I create like a little success area. And the
mm,
best to do that is in an office or a workspace or your bedroom if you cannot do it otherwise. Yeah, if you don't have your own workspace, or the living room. And then you first declutter that area, and then you start thinking, what are my goals? Yeah, and write down some of the goals, and you can then put symbols or images there. And I'm sure everybody has a book on success, yeah, or a book of a biography of a successful person. So even
Mhm.
if you have nothing really yet that is personal, you can already put something that activates that energy. And you will see on the app there are all kinds of videos for free that helps you to go through, what to do and what to place there for your success direction and to activate. It's like you want more money. You, for example, can put symbols of money there, like not like a $1 bill, right? But like perhaps a symbol of like $1 million, fake
Yep.
bill, right?
Mhm.
Fake note. So it's just you put some symbols that for you inspire you. And what it does, it actually, there's like an energy portal, yeah, in that direction for you. For you, it's north. I know that, Erica. Yeah.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
me, it is southwest. And so for the rest of my life, it is southwest. Yeah.
Mm.
So every space I'm going, make sure I have that activated. um, and then you have a relationship direction, and you can look. For me, it's west, so west is actually here, you can't see it, but I have like 1 million students online. So I put there a globe because it I cannot show 1 million people, but I can show the globe. Yeah, so I would suggest for
Mhm.
you that is east. Yeah, so to put in the
Okay.
east a globe, because you have international people that are listening to your podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
Mm.
global, right? So you can place that there. But then in a bedroom, you would focus more on your personal relationship. Yeah, in your relationship direction. Yeah. And in the living room, you would focus on your family and your friends. Yeah. And your office, like it's in my office, so I have my team there. I have my major business partners there. I have my images of my high-end clients, my celebrity clients I mentor personally. Um, I have just like, a family picture there. So, but it's not all focused on family because it's my office. Yeah.
Mm. Mhm.
So people can start doing that, and then of course they can upgrade to get like a whole year traject to start doing all their feng shui, and even to be able to get personalized meditations. There are feng shui meditations that are based for your birthday. Yeah, so it's just to keep the chi moving, right? And so that is what the app is about, and it's just so very simple. People love it. They're using it all the time. And then one of the steps you will learn that's a little bit more advanced, but it talks about it, is that at a certain point, you will always try to look at a good direction. So you will always want to have a power position. Like I'm in a power position, I see the door, but I'm facing one of my four good directions. Because if you can
Mm.
look at, so your eyes are open, you look at it towards success, health, relationship, or wisdom, you actually will bring, your vibrations, not just on alpha, but even to go um to theta, to get to healing level, to delta, to really be open and inspirational. So you can really change the vibrations, and you can say, for example, hey, I do healing work, I do my yoga, I focus on my healing direction. I'm
Mm.
writing, I'm studying, I focus on my wisdom direction. I have a romantic dinner, I face my relationship direction. So people use the app all the time. They have it with them, and so they just use it all the time when they're traveling, when they're in a hotel to activate a hotel. Every place they are, they always make sure they're in a good position. And when you do that, it's like the flow of energy is so much stronger, and your law of attraction
Mm.
goes, you are adding 33.3% of results. And that's actually what I have practiced to become, like, from a lawyer from Belgium to be an international speaker, being part of the secret, and to just have so much students and clients worldwide. I mean, this is what I practiced, even if I did not know that one day I would share this to the world. This has become my purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so remarkable. I have so many things to unpack from there, but just based on the last thing you said, I know you have a lot of celebrity clients. So what is like, can you share one example of one of your clients? You don't have to say the name if you want, you may, but just something remarkable that happened by them creating their feng shui space.
Yeah. Well, I want to share because I have permission of that. You know, one of my high-end clients is Big Sean. He's top five hip hop artist, and so he was at a moment in his place where he was when I entered his life like 4 years ago, where he was like hesitating, and he was about the new album coming out, and he did not have the inspiration like to create the new album. And so
Yeah.
it was very interesting. I went to his office, and I went to his personal studio, and he loves Star Wars. I mean, I understand, I love Star Wars too, right? But he did have in his success direction his in these two places, he had a lot of images of Star Wars, and especially the helmets of the Darth Vader soldiers and the Darth Vader helmet. And I said to him, Sean, this is not your focus. You're not creating movies called Star Wars. You're a hip hop artist. So let's take all this out, right? So all this fun fun items, to be honest, but that's not what you're here to bring. This is not where your passion is. Your passion is music. So let's get your awards out, yeah, and put your awards in your success direction, and put like images of you performing, and with your friends, your colleagues, with Jay-Z and Ye, and every and Eminem, and like put like the images where you had fun, really performing. And so, and put all your awards and like your albums out. So I put it all in the right places. And so by being done in these rooms, he was again inspired, yeah, to make new
Hmm.
music. And so, and then I mentored him personally to clear some of the blockages. And so the next album he brought out went straight to number one on the 100 Billboard. And so
Wow.
people did not
Yeah.
expect that because he had been a little bit away from the scene. And so, but his whole home became focused on what he really wanted to accomplish, because a lot of people don't do that. Yeah, they have an office, and they have a lot of wonderful things out there, but they're not focused on the business that they should be focusing on, not just in themselves but around them. Yeah, so that's the first thing I
Yes.
always do when I come in. Is like, what's your business? What is your passion? What do you want to manifest in your life? Let us visualize that around you, so your home becomes that three-dimensional vision board.
That's so amazing. I love that. And so let's go to the bedroom. So I'm sure a lot of people ask you about
Yes.
this. So let's say somebody that wants to bring in a new relationship or bring more passion into their bedroom. What would be some examples of things they would either put in their environment in their bedroom or remove,
Yeah.
most importantly?
Well, the first thing I would remove is having mirrors reflecting the bed. Yeah. So also
Oh, really?
television is
Okay.
also reflective. Yeah. So when you have a
Mm,
mirror reflecting the bed and you're single, you're actually saying to the universe, I'm reflecting myself all the time. Yeah.
mm,
If you're if
fascinating.
you're with a partner, you're reflecting the partner, so you start opening up for more partners. Yeah. So make sure you
Mm,
cover that. People start sleeping better right away. They feel less depressed because they double the stress otherwise. So that's the first thing I want you to do: cover the mirrors. The second thing,
mm,
become aware of what is around you. I have seen so many times people that are single, that they have images around them of single people, like single women.
mm.
So they say, oh, it's so romantic. The woman is like laying, waiting for her man. Yeah, but she's by herself waiting for a man. Like literally, that is not positive, right? So get out all the single items or single pictures, and then replace them with things that show romance, hearts,
Mm.
um, good colors for romance, or roses. And you can add some reds if you want some more passion in a relationship that already exists, but don't over exaggerate. You just, it's like acupuncture, you add a few things. then also look what hangs above your headboard. Yeah, because you go to sleep, and even you're not aware of it, what is above your headboard is connecting with your dreams. Yeah,
Mm, mm,
couple, and they were very famous actors, but I cannot mention their name, and they were fighting all the time, but they had an image of two tigers above their headboard. Yeah, and I said, I don't know if you're aware of that, but a tiger is has its one tiger has its own domain in the forest, so they only come together to mate. Yeah, so they're not really, otherwise they
mm.
fight. And they said, yeah, for the mating that's no problem, but otherwise we're fighting. Yeah, it was like a love-hate relationship, right? I said, but you're putting two fighting animals above your head. So remove that. Yeah, put a picture that's romantic with two people, or a picture of you and your partner if you have that, or two hearts, or the word
Mm.
love, joy, happiness. You can work with quotes if you like that. But also avoid anything with water in the bedroom. When you have water images, let's say you have a sea landscape or you have a river, you actually create more water energy, and water energy is all about depression, being more in sorrow, having more pain. So remove anything with water in your bedroom.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so this is so informative, and I know there's much more to it. So moving on to there's one thing you call dowsing.
Yeah.
What's dowsing?
Yeah, dowsing is, the feng shui masters of the ancient times, they had always two things that they looked at. They had a compass that they work with, it's a big compass. So I made that more easier by creating a diamond compass on your app, right? And they also had sticks to what some people would call in the old time witching, like they were looking for water. Yeah, and so we actually dowsing is actually using two metal rods to find out where energy is. So it's like a pendulum,
Mm,
but in a different way. It's like with two sticks. So I'm sure your grandfather, grandmothers, they were looking for a source on the land with dowsing sticks, yeah, and or dowsing rods, and they would
mm,
find out where the source is, and then they would drill and they would find the water. Yeah. So, but dowsing can be used in a more elaborate way, and so the Chinese would always use to find out where the meridians of the world are. Think about what we call ley lines. So think about Stonehenge, for example. Yeah, Stonehenge in England is a center point, an energetic point, and we know that it is on four ley lines. So when you
mm,
have crossing ley lines, you always create a center point. And so a lot of the cathedrals in Europe, but for example, also in America, the Capitol, the Washington Monument, the White House, uh, has been placed on what we call these positive vortexes, because in the ancient times there were feng shui masters, druids, and later on the Freemasons took that information to place in their buildings on these strong points. Yeah. And
mm.
so, but you can also have places in your home where your home is built that are not positive, that are more lower vibration. For example, when you are close to water, or you have underground water, and you have underground water where you sleep, especially where you work, you will have a hard time to sleep, to concentrate, to feel well. So I have created a whole aspect, and I can check that on my website, Diamond Dowsing, it's called, where I give a very easy way to cure all these issues. And then people start sleeping so much better.
Right.
They feel there's more harmony in the house. So this is two ancient techniques that the feng shui masters used that I brought forward again in a very easy way, because we cannot just take our house and build it somewhere else. So I created online courses for people to learn all this in a very easy way, so that people can do that for themselves and their families. So you don't need to, have a gift for that or a special talent. You can just learn step by step how to do that. And we have more than 300,000 students just on that alone online.
Wow.
Yeah.
Remarkable. Okay, everything will be in the show notes for that. And so kind of just to wrap this all in a bow, because there's so much to learn and obviously there's so many more everybody of course download the app. Like you said, it's free. I got you just plug in two things, your birthday and your
Yeah,
sex, male or female, that you're born. And you get your number, and then it gives you all the information she talked about. So that's super powerful. Do that. And of course, we're going to declutter. But if you were to, let's say we're about to enter the new year, I like to, in the month of December, really start to go within and try to bring forward what do I want to create in the new year to come. So a lot of people do vision boards, and you talked about how our environment is. 3D vision board. So what are some things you would like to request or suggest that we should do possibly to really align ourselves to bring more abundance, success, anything we want to manifest into the new year? I know you gave some specific things, but do you suggest people do a vision board in itself?
yeah.
What would you
Yeah,
recommend?
I'm a big believer of vision boards because my vision boards have always been amazing. So I would always suggest to write down your goals and goals for success, money, relationship, wisdom, your spiritual growth, your connection with God, the universe, and your health and well-being. And I actually have a very specific program that called the Magical Program, the Magical Vision Board Program, where I'm teaching how, based on your birthday, you actually have to set up your vision board differently. But I'm going to give you a few steps
Okay.
already in it. And the first thing is you take a piece of paper, of course, and you have to put in the center your own picture. Yeah, because you're the center of the
Mm,
universe. And then put around it, the images that are related with your goals, but also write down your goals because we have a both brain have to be supported. So analytical, write them down, but write them always down in the present tense. Always start with the word I am, because when you use the word I am in a capital, you're connecting with that divine presence in you. Yeah, you connect with that inner
mm,
universe. So I am a best-selling author. I am a top podcast host. I am moving to this place, I am living there, or I have, I am in a great relationship. So, like, you can just always say with the words I am, you write this down, and then always, as you have the goals, add the right pictures to it that relate with it. Yeah. So, but first
mhm,
be clear. Yeah. And so once you have your vision board, then you want to place it in a place that you can see it as much as you can. So the best would be to put it in your personal success direction. So if you download the app, you have your direction, you see where it is. I would always suggest to put it in a place where not everybody sees it because you need to see it, but not your whole family. Yeah, I would not put it in the living
mm,
room or the family room, but put it in your
mhm,
workspace or your bedroom, in your success direction. I always suggest to people put it in a golden frame because when we add gold or you surround it with like golden marker or something, when you add gold to it, you're actually creating an exponential reaction. More abundance will come to you. Yeah. So these are some
mm.
very specific tips. And every
Great.
year we have a specific vision board program because we have seen that uh, then we add certain symbols to it, certain words that are very important based on your energy number. And you will definitely see that show up in the app. There will be notifications about it. So if you want to join that,
Yeah. Oh, so good. So, so good. I love the put it in a gold frame as well. And I know we didn't touch on colors and the meaning of colors and how that adds to the energy and environment. But I know everybody's going to want to learn more about you. Go to your website, download your app, read your books, and all that. So, I'm just gonna close this off and asking you number one. Well, we already know where to find you, Marie Diamond. You're on the socials, and also there's many videos and interviews you've done. You have your website, your program. So I know a lot of people are going to dive into those, hopefully for the new year to
yeah,
come. But I just want to ask you my closing question, most importantly, and I can't wait to hear your piece of wisdom on this. So I always ask my guests, if you were to leave a piece of wisdom, a life lesson that you've learned along your vast journey on this planet, what would that piece of wisdom be to our guests today that you feel everybody needs
yeah.
to hear?
Well, I want to go back to what you just shared in the beginning about the crumbles on your pathway. Yeah. So we are all here with a purpose, and that purpose is to make a difference to ourselves in our spiritual growth and to the world around us. And as you're transforming yourself, you will be impacting the world around you. It's your family, your community, and perhaps ultimately the world. And it's possible you don't know what that difference is going to look like, but you will, if you listen within yourself and you follow the breadcrumbs, you'll be led through what exactly the way it's going to be, the how you're going to make the difference in the world. I did not know that at 15. I had to go through a whole journey, and I knew it when I was like literally 15 years later. So it took me a journey of 15 years to really understand what I was here for. And but once you know it, your heart will open up and you will follow your passion and connect every day with your passion. Like, make that be your morning prayer, like in the morning, like, this is my passion, I focus on that, and at the end of the day, look back literally to what have you done, what impact have you made, and share the gratitude towards God, the universe, towards yourself. And then you will have again the new energy to follow that passion again the next day.
So beautifully said. I love that. I love that piece of wisdom. Yeah, I have this actually. I have to buy another one for this year, but I have a little, it's it's like a planner, a yearly planner. And one of the great things I love about it is it has like the life wheel where you rate how you're feeling in your, business, relationship, your health and whatnot. You rate that. And then it asks you like, what are the 5 things you want to accomplish this month? And it asks you all these specific questions to kind of align yourself and also check in and look back of how you felt the previous month. Did
Yeah.
you succeed? And it's a great way to keep you on track if you're obviously looking at it. And you also have a page to lay out your vision board. It's really phenomenal. So all the things you mentioned this, it makes me think like that's a guide. It's a great guide.
Yeah.
This has been so phenomenal. And I think this is the most perfect episode to prepare everybody for this new year to come of 2023. So when you're listening to this, she gave you a lot of action steps. We know we are going to eliminate 10 to 20% of our clutter that is surrounding us at all times. I know I can't wait to move so I could start fresh and I could actually uh, put things in their right position. And I know that, when there's 2 people in the home or 3, 4, whatever, everybody has different power positions, but just to be able to at least put things in the right positioning as like my desk, most importantly. So I think there's so much you left us with that we could start off the new year powerfully and create more abundance, alignment, and success and love in our life. So thank you, Marie Diamond. You are a true gem. And thank you for the work you're doing in the world. And thank you for being on Passion Love Pursuit.
Thank you, Erica, and thank you for what you bring to the world.
It is my honor, and like you said, is I followed the breadcrumbs, and when you feel good about something, you want to do it more. And so this has just been my work that I've been committed to for 3.5 years, which is even shocking to say, but it brings me so much joy because these conversations are really what's making a change in the world. Like once people really take ownership of their lives and implement these pieces of wisdom. That's what creates a ripple in other people's lives. So,
Thank you.
so honored. So honored. Thank you.